Sorry about being late. We're trying to set this up in the other studio and they couldn't get it to download. So the deck was all jacked. So I had to run back to my office. So I'll start this in 1 second. What I'll do is I'm going to start and I'll just get cranking and just roll with it. Julie, you look nice today. Paul, you always look good. Aaron, are you on the call? Go ahead and let people in. Looks like we have about 75 people coming. So that's decent. Great. All right, looks like everybody's coming on in. Welcome everybody as you come on to the webinar today. I'm Verl Workman. Welcome to our Workman Success Monthly Webinar. It's going to be a great event today. We have two exciting guests. So as you come in, just go into the chat box and just say hello. Let us know who you are and where you're from. And we'll do our best to monitor questions that you might have during the session today. Ann says hi from Minnesota. Is Minnesota as cold as Utah right now? It's freezing in Salt Lake City. Ashley's here from Houston. We just did a great fun event, Teams event in Houston, Texas last week. Sunny and cool. South Florida says, yeah, it's always nice here. Welcome from Billings and Zionsville, Indiana. I've never met anybody from Zionsville, Indiana, I don't think. I think that's cool. Paul, have you ever been to Zionsville? So Paul, I'm not hearing your audio, so that's a good chance for us to make sure the audio works. I don't hear you. You can hear me? So something's on your end with your audio. Julie, I can hear you okay. How are you this morning?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you great.
Okay, good. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good.
It's like we have Crossville, Tennessee. Sometimes the headset, Paul, doesn't switch over. Wow, we are spread out today. Sarasota, Wisconsin. I can't even say that. Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. Love it. Well, I hope everybody's having a great holiday season. I hope you're all staying safe during COVID. It's kind of a crazy world we live in right now with all the things that have been going on. And I want to thank you all for being here. You know, at Workman Success, we decided at the beginning of this pandemic that we were going to stop selling and start serving, and that we were going to have everything that we do, every product we put out, all of the webinars we've done, we have just done to try and help this real estate market and all of our amazing people try and not only survive, but thrive in a environment where we're being told what we can and can't do. And it's kind of crazy out there. And one of the things we did is we launched a program called 120-day listing challenge. And when we launched that program to all of our coaching clients just got into it. They just got fired up. They started tracking the number of calls they had to make every day, the number of conversations they had, the listing appointments they went on, whether they were in live or virtual. And as a result of that, what happened is we watched listing inventory increase. And we started making a difference. And I know while I'm waiting for Paul to get on the audio here, I just want to make sure you connect. It still says you're trying to connect, Paul. But that's okay because we are mobile and agile. And we'll be able to fly. So with the 120-day listing challenge, what's happened as a result of that is we've seen just this tremendous amount of stimulus go back into the marketplace. I'm going to share my slides with y'all and just introduce our guests. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this 120-day challenge. So let me go here. Okay, we got this. I have to share first and then do my slide deck. I hit share and then start. Okay. Now, Julie, you should be seeing a picture of Paul. Is that what you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Then we're gonna go ahead and stay. I see lots of people say. Linda says she's so excited to see Julie here. Linda Denning's like, it's great to see Julie Teal on this. That's exciting. So let me introduce our guests real quick. So we have two amazing guests that are leading our 120-day listing challenge. And so I thought what we'd do is I wanted to share with all of you why some people kick butt in listings and everybody else is whining about the lack of inventory. I like to say that it's not that there's a lack of inventory, it's just that you don't have it. And that means that, look, if you don't have the inventory you need because things are selling so fast, you got to go out there and get more inventory. And there's activities and things that you can do to create that stimulus. So I've invited two amazing guests. The first I'm going to share with you is Paul Wheeler. Paul Wheeler is the broker owner of Accent Realtors in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He started Accent in 1992. He leads his team. He runs his brokerage as a team, which I think is really interesting. And we're seeing more and more of that. He leads his team with energy and experience and a servant's heart attitude. He introduced the concept to me of servant heart selling, which I always think, whenever I think of Paul, I think of servant heart selling because it's so different than sell selling. And it's looking for ways that we can serve people. He's a national top producer consistently, selling about 40 times the average of what the average realtor does. He ranks in the top 0.1% nationwide. His sales philosophy is to serve at the highest level through education and communication. And he gets to do the work that he loves, which is, helping people. He's not only just a great real estate agent, but he's also a savvy investor. He spends time making
I need the link.
I can hear you now, Paul.
Okay.
He makes his big thing is life balance and really having a positive impact on his family. And I love that about Paul. Paul is also a senior coach with Workman Success Systems. And many of our clients have the opportunity to work with Paul and to interact with him and to see how he can take his knowledge and inspiration and combine it with the Workman Success Systems to help make a difference in their lives. And it's been fun to watch him grow, not only as an individual, but as a coach and a leader. So here is the amazing Julie Teal. Everybody say hi to Julie real quick. Looks like Harv just got here from Toronto. Mike Koch says she loves Julie Teal. He loves Julie Teal. That's good. You get a little coach love, Julie. So this is Julie. She is the broker owner of Remax Lakeside Dreams. And she's out of, boy, how do you say that, Julie? Is it?
Corsicana.
Corsicana, Texas. I love that. Corsicana, like, I don't know about you, but I wish I had a Texas accent, Julie. If there's anything you could share with me, it would just be help me talk sweet. Because I had a Southern accent, it would be game over.
Well, I'll try to teach you, bro.
All right, I appreciate that. Julie's got a BA from Baylor University in finance, a minor in real estate, so she's super smart. She reactivated her license in '87, and she got her broker's license by 2000. She bought her first Remax franchise in 2001, got her first coach in 2006, and then the next year, her husband, John, went and got his real estate license, and together they bought their second Remax franchise. They found their niche and demand for professional real estate services and began building their brand. She's the number 6 team statewide for Remax, and in the third quarter of 2020, and they're hoping to finish the year with 1.8 million in GCI just on their team and over 400 transactions. And I want you to think about that. That's an amazing accomplishment for not only for a team, but for a lot of big companies don't do that much business, Julie. So congratulations on your tremendous success this year. So as we get into, and I'm going to share, they're both going to share with you how they're dominating with listings and what's happening with them. But I want to share with everybody that just a couple of thoughts. And the first is this, is that we know that the U.S. has suffered the biggest financial setback in 90 years, and not just United States. I think we're feeling the same thing in all of North America and even around the world. COVID is causing just havoc on our economies. And my heart goes out, we're in real estate and we're very fortunate that the federal government has kept interest rates low and done things to stimulate the economy, to keep people moving and buying and selling properties. And so we've had an opportunity to actually do well in a market. But if you look around at all the business that are just devastated by the shutdowns and lockdowns and inability to do the way they do business, our economy is hurting. And we haven't even felt the real ramifications of what's been going on in our marketplace. And so we know that we have not only an opportunity to do well, but we also have a responsibility to make a difference in the communities that we serve. And so we created the 120-day listing challenge for the sole purpose of becoming heroes in our local economic market by helping people. And I don't know if you know this, but on average, it puts about $86,000 of stimulus back in your local economy when you list one home. So when you list a home, all of the ancillary businesses that are affected by that put $86,000 of stimulus back in the economy. And that's what our 120-day challenge was about. It wasn't about how do we sell more houses so we can make more money. It was all about how do we put more stimulus in the market and truly make a difference in these communities that we serve. And that's what I want to talk about today. By the way, here's our leaderboard. And check this out. I don't know if you've seen the leaderboard today, Julie, but it's looking really good. I got Mendy at 91 listing appointments, Julie at 66 listing appointments, Paul Wheeler's on there at 32. On the listing appointments completed, Julie's at 62, Paul's at 34. I mean, this is like in a 60-day period. That's more listings and listing appointments than most people go on in a year. And you guys are just absolutely killing it. We put the listing sold counts in there. The numbers are big, and it's really fun to see the two of you doing so well. Do you find that there's a direct correlation? I'll ask both of you this, between the activities you focus on and the number of appointments that you get?
Yes. Always.
You know, a lot of people just wish they had more listings. They don't actually do the activities that generate those. Wish marketing, I found, doesn't really work. For those of you who are on this call that haven't got a copy of this yet, I'm going to give you a download page at the end where you can download a copy of our Double Your Listings in 120-day challenge and get access to it just as my gift to you. So I'm going to encourage you all to get onto it. And then the other thing is with the increased number of coronavirus cases that are happening all over the world, that, we have to become masters of virtual real estate. And so also as a thank you for being here today, I want to make sure that you download and go through the Master of Virtual Real Estate. This is a powerful, powerful document of how to be better at this than anybody else in the world. And I encourage you to do that. And so I want to first start with Paul, if I can, and just say, Paul, thanks for being here and thanks for sharing. You're always one, when I say I need someone to jump on a webinar with me or share with others how you're doing, you're always one that says, I'm in, how can I help? So thank you for being here, Paul.
My pleasure, Virl. So let's make sure you can hear me. I had to switch from my headset to the computer. Can you hear me?
Well, I hear you great.
Okay, fantastic. The problem is I'm in the bullpen. The headset mutes all the sounds, so hopefully it'll be quiet. So my apologies for the technical difficulty on my end. First time that's happened, but I'm sure it's not going to be the last.
You know what? We don't even feel it. It sounds great and it looks good. All right, so let's just jump in. Talk to me about COVID in your business. Why are you still killing it during a worldwide pandemic?
So I love the topic and I love the question. I thought, since it's been, what has it been, 9 months since all this happened, maybe the best way to start would be to give a little perspective on how we started the year and then look at our progress based on what we did. So if you don't mind, I'll do that. We came into the year with a lot of new adjustments to our long-term marketing strategy because a lot of the things we had been doing were no longer as effective. Our margins were being squeezed and we really didn't like that. We like profitability. And when COVID hit, we knew we had to move fast. We had to dial in our most effective marketing and eliminate our waste. We actually closed our office for 8+ weeks too and went remote. So that made us nervous. So as we evaluated our marketing, we cut 50% of our marketing costs immediately. And we figured out that our big three most effective areas were, surprise, surprise, our past clients, referrals from those past clients in our sphere and referrals from them. So also last year, as the market had shifted and our marketing wasn't effective, our lead to close conversion on a seller lead had dropped to 15%. That's low for us. We knew we had to get that up and we focused on our relationships and the people that already knew, loved, and trusted us. And that's just a whole lot more fun book of business to work anyway. So throughout this very interesting year, we improved our conversion from lead to closing from 15% to 25%. And we took our profit margins from 24% that were being squeezed of total GCI to 35% year to date. And last month and this month, we're topping 50% because the year seemed to be kind of turned upside down. We are just crazy busy now where everybody kind of held their breath, no pun intended, at the beginning of the year. So thanks
You
for
know,
letting me
Paul,
start with that perspective.
well, yeah, as you talk about profitability, I would guess that most of the people that are listening on this call can't tell you what their margins are. They can't tell you what their net profit is at the end of the year. And to increase your profitability by more than 10% in a 9-month period during the middle of a global pandemic is pretty significant.
Yeah, surprised even me. So we're happy.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't surprise me at all because you were intentional about what you were, what you focused on. So let's talk about some of the things that you've done and some of the activities and changes that you've had to make during COVID to maintain and to increase your listing count.
Fantastic. So we did 3 things. I already mentioned we tweaked our marketing, but we also improved our pre-listing process and we mastered our listing presentation. So it was interesting for marketing. If we're going to talk to the people that know, love, and trust us, and we can't get face to face, we just picked up the phone. Our standard database calls, we call them our friends of accent calls, went from maybe an average of 2 minutes to 10 to 20 minutes each. It was amazing. People wanted a connection. They were scared, they were stressed, and they were lonely. And one of my favorite parts about this year is it was a beautiful experience connecting that deeply with so many people. And that was just a lot of fun. We continuously followed up on the leads that came in the spring too, because as we came into the year, when all the leads come in, they come in hot and heavy in February and March and April, but a lot of those people backed up and went, whoa, what is this COVID thing? We didn't know what it was, and well, it's still scary, but we kind of understand it now. And so they decided not to go on the market, but we continued to talk them through it throughout the summer. So a ton of our business right now is the people that had reached out to us or we had connected with in the spring before COVID. And now they're going, okay, we're ready to sell. Their goal was to sell this year. And so they're more comfortable to go on the market. So that's where a lot of our business is coming from. On the slide, and I think I see the slide with my technical difficulties, we've got a pie day and fundraisers and stuff like that. So we had to redesign our events to be COVID safe too. And it had always been just a party. For example, we do a shredding event and we would cook out and do face painting and have a shredding truck, and tons of people would come. We'd get the hugs and the laughs and just have a great time. This year we made it drive-through and it was the biggest turnout yet. Nobody had to get out of the car. They popped the trunk, we grabbed everything, and we had masks on and kept everybody safe. 2 days before Thanksgiving, we did the pie day, thought about canceling it because of safety issues, but we just determined to do it in a drive-up fashion. Nobody got out of the car and we just handed them the pies and we kept them safe. And so that was a lot of fun. We also updated and redesigned our marketing online and added things like instant offer and fast cash and got a little more creative. Even now, because we saw the value of all that focus we spent on our marketing, we still spend a couple of hours a week tweaking our web marketing and tracking its effectiveness. And people have a lot of time to be online, so we really wanted to up that. I think if you scroll up, you might see, because I'm not controlling the screen, right, Burl? Yeah, some of the updated web stuff. Scroll again, if you will. That reminds me too, so it's a new look with our website. Reminds me of 2 things.
This is great. This is the first time I've seen it. This looks really good.
Yeah, thanks. One of my recommendations too is Donald Miller has a great new book, Marketing Made Simple, and it's just a step-by-step process on bringing people into a story. And it's a fantastic book. So we used it to redesign everything. But the previous picture too reminded me that with every event we do a lot of charity work, and it was a picture of me giving out a check and just giving back to the community. We're in a time now where it's needed more than ever. So, okay, that was marketing.
So before you move on, Paul, can I ask you a couple questions? Okay. So there's a lot of interest.
Absolutely.
You jumped in and you talked about events and staying COVID-free and safe during events, which I love. The shredding event, people talk about it. You said it was your best attendance ever. Tell me just a little bit more about that. Like, who did you call? How much do you spend on it? And then what's the value the community gets from it? Why has this become such a big thing for you?
So the first time someone told me about a shredding event, I almost rolled my eyes, and that's not allowed in our family. So I didn't do that. But I went, what? Who would want a shredding event? And so my office manager, I think, talked me into it and said, look, it's a needed service. Other people are doing it around the country. And I think we've done it for 8 years now. So we tried it, and it was nonstop traffic. So we marketed to our entire database, but then we also marketed to the community. So we have the shredding truck there for 2 hours. I think the shredding truck cost $400. We were doing a fundraiser. So he said, I'm going to take he said, I want you to donate what you would have spent for me and just donate it to the charity. So he did it for free after he saw the turnout. And for 2 hours, it is bumper to bumper, nonstop, people bringing in stuff after taxes that, they want to get rid of. And it's too much for just a at-home paper shredder. So it was a really big need, and it's community wide. And then we raise money for charities too.
It's really a cool idea. Do you do anything do you do a shredding event, Julie?
Do I? No.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea though.
Yes, great idea. Love it.
And so Paul, this is your social media stuff that happens afterwards and during?
Yeah, a lot of Facebook stuff. Anytime we can get on the news, we have cell numbers of media people and newscasters. It's a lot of fun.
So talk about your 3-step plan.
All right, so that's part of the Donald Miller information. And as you bring people into a story, we want to keep it simple. So it's kind of interesting. Our methodology, our structure of everything we do is very simple and systematic. And that's the way we designed our website, so they know what they want and how to get it. If they are confused, a confused mind will say no. So as they come to our website, it's very clear on what actions they can take. So it's kind of interesting, which leads me into the second thing that we did, Burl, and that was we improved our pre-list packet. And I will put a disclaimer on the slide you just pulled up. So that interview with a newscaster was pre-COVID. That's one you guys grabbed off of our social media somewhere. It was fun. The first interview we did after COVID was done with a 6-foot pole with a microphone on the end. And then after that, we did stuff with face masks once we learned that, that helped us. But I was not face-to-face with a newscaster after COVID without a mask. So
Good disclosure.
I'd get in big trouble. Yeah, I know. So the second thing we really do well is the pre-listing process. So and conversion on our initial seller call. If we get a seller on the phone, we get an appointment. I mean, a couple of times a year, maybe I get a seller on the phone and I don't set an appointment. So we use a seller interview, and I think one of the gifts today is a copy of that seller interview and a buyer interview that we've developed over the years, and it's flawless if we script it right. And if you want to, I do a video on the intro, and so if anybody wants a video of that, just ask. You can always email me at paulwheeler@accentrealtors.com. So Verl, if you would like, I can do the intro to the seller interview just as an example for our listeners today.
I'd love it.
Okay, so this works so well, and I'll just give you an overview of the whole process too. So I might say, hello, is this Mr. Smith? Hi, Mr. Smith, this is Paul Wheeler with Accent Realtors. I understand you're thinking about selling a home. Fantastic. We appreciate you reaching out to us. By the way, how'd you hear about us? And I said, great. Well, the best way to start is to ask you a few questions to figure out the best way to help you. Do you have a few minutes? And then we ask them 20 plus questions on everything from what they paid for it, when they bought it, what improvements they've made, why they're selling, and how motivated they are. And then we close with the next step is for us to do a bunch of research on your home and then get a quick grand tour. As long as I have you on the phone, let's get that set up. I have an opening tomorrow at 1 or Friday at 1, which is better for you. And then we send them a pre-list package and a staging package via email. It's kind of interesting. When we go to the appointment, the sellers say, you know, you did more up to this point than my last agent or most agents do in the entire selling process. And the sellers feel like we've listened to them and understand their needs. So it's a great process. So we've included that seller interview. And again, we get someone on the phone, we set the appointment.
So Paul, where does your lead gen come from? How do you get the seller on a phone? Like, where do the sellers come from? Like, everybody wants to know, how do I get more conversations like that?
Yeah, so most of our business is past clients and center of influence, and then referrals from both of those parties. The other is web. We have a lot of creative campaigns out there. It's a combination of things. Of course, there's not just one thing. Google or reviews online come to mind. Having a good presence out there when they land on your site, if it's clear and concise and you have a good reputation, they're going to pick up the phone. Most of our sellers pick up the phone. We have some lead gen systems that, you know, they leave a number or a name, and those aren't quite as effective. But if you can get them to pick up the phone in your marketing, you're going to set the appointment if you handle it correctly, of course.
So I think that what people are asking is, and if you were paying attention, what Paul does is events. He supports his local community. He does events. He builds for events, and that puts a whole bunch of touches in the consumer without trying to sell them something. So we're doing a pie day. Come on, pick up your pie. We're doing a shredding day. Bring your stuff in and let's get it shredded. And so by building for events, it allows you to have multiple touches with a client. That's not, hey, do you want to buy or sell a house? And so his team stays at the front of the mind of that consumer when they're ready to buy or sell. I love your buyer and seller process. Take us through this just a little bit, Paul. And this is something Paul's going to make available in the downloads to everybody as well. So tell us more about this.
You know, you really make a good point. The best marketing is a client well served. So these systems and processes give that raving fan service. So that is why most of our business comes from past clients. It's serving the community and getting the job done. But if we create that raving fan, that's where we're going to get our business, which actually leads me into a third thought I had, because the third thing we really do well and we mastered this year is a fantastic listing presentation. So to your point, we don't hard sell them. We serve them. It's short, it's focused on their needs, and it gives them clarity and builds trust by educating them on what to expect. We don't talk about us. We don't say how great we are. We tell them how real estate really works and how to achieve their goals. And when you sell like that, I've shared with you, Virl, before, the old ABCs of always be closing are outdated, and everybody's tired of them. And the new ABCs are always be connecting and always be contributing. So it's just a combination of everything, but serving that client with a focus on what's best for them, from the first call to the closing. It's not about us, it's about them and helping them reach their goals. So if you'd like, I'll give you the basic structure of our listing process. And Virl, I will tell you, I can count on one hand the number of listings I lose to somebody else each year. So when we get in front of somebody, if it's good for them to sell, we get the listing. So the basic structure is T-tape. Have you ever heard of that? It's an acronym.
No, let's hear it.
All right, T-tape stands for time. And I'm sorry, thank you. See, it's my own listing presentation. I'm messing up on it. Stands for thank you, time, accomplish, permission, and end. So the first T is, it would go something like this. Thank you for having me as a guest in your home today. In the next few minutes, that's time, we want to accomplish, that's A, for accomplish, we want to accomplish a couple of things. And in order to do that, I'd love to ask you a few questions just so I really know how to serve you. And that's permission to ask questions. That's the P. And then the E on T-tape and is at the end of our time together, we'll at least have a next step. And it might be, let's get this house on the market and get it sold. And it might be, I'm going to wait another 3 to 5 years until the market changes more. Either one is okay as long as we stay focused on what's best for you. So the T-tape we use in every presentation or every meeting, that gives them clarity on what's going to happen in the next few minutes. So without clarity, they're confused, and a confused mind will say no. So T-tape is the first thing. And then we do in our listing presentation, a quick overview of the market. I think the sellers are better sellers if they understand the real estate bubble and the bust and recovery, just a few short charts and graphs. Again, clarity is key in building trust. So we give them an overview of the market. It's kind of a high level overview. And then we talk about the fundamentals of real estate. So I always say if we do A, B, and C, D will always happen, and D is the sale. And we tell our clients, after 27 years in the business, you should never, ever, ever worry about not selling. If we do everything right, we will sell every single time. And then the final part is the CMA. And that's just, an evaluation on the property with the data. And so we end that with a final question. And that question is, so if we can sell in this range, is it good for you to sell your home? And they either say yes or no. So if they say yes, we say, fantastic. Then are you comfortable with me? And they say yes, because we've educated them, built trust, and given them clarity. If they say no, we say, fantastic. I don't want you to do it then if it's not good for you. And then they're still a member of the family in our database, all the events, and we stay in touch with them. So again, we rarely lose a listing with a presentation like that. So that's what we did to survive and thrive in today's in this crazy year. Oh my gosh. So any thoughts, any questions?
I have a bunch, but I want to get to Julie. And so if you'll stay, are you okay staying on with me until we get towards the end? And then I'll open it up to questions from everybody, because we got questions coming in. And I love that. So I've got several takeaways from this. One is I love always be connecting and contributing instead of always be selling, always be closing. That's a great Paulism that I'm going to totally steal from you. And I love it.
Totally okay. I think I stole it from somebody else.
So Julie, as we talk to Paul and we get into some of the things that they're doing, tell me about how COVID's been for you and some of the adjustments that you've had to make as a team in a brokerage. You're killing it.
Well, we started Workman coaching in March. So
right in the middle.
That was pretty interesting, starting the coaching program and COVID hitting about the same time. I mean, it was like almost the same time. So thanks to Mike, shout out to Mike Koch, who's been a great coach. He's helped us to stay focused. I think on track. It's easy to get distracted by things going on around you, and with the help of the coaching system, I think it's kept us to where we can be focused and driven throughout this year. So we just did what he said as much as we could, because I think about 60 days into COVID is when the top blew off of our market. I don't know about other people in other areas of the country, but we are in a rural lake market between Dallas and Houston. We're about an hour south of Dallas and 2 hours north of Houston area. And when COVID hit, and I think it started sinking into the country and people were realizing they weren't going to be able to travel, our market just went off the rails. We had inventory that we had been holding for 5 years. And by the end of this whole thing, it was going in, all these properties were going into multiple offers. was nuts. So, that combined with, Mike trying to help us and stay focused, it's been challenging. Last year we closed 268 transactions, and this year we're on track for over 400. We're at the end of the
Incredible.
year and we have 44 in the pipe, and that's pretty much unheard of. I mean, the listing contest, I think, helped us. It started 1st of September. The weird thing is we had vacations scheduled. So 4 weeks of the listing contest, we're out of the country, 2 of those, and Mexico and somewhere else. And we were just sitting there working. We had a lot of people reaching out from the things that we do on a regular basis. And I think we were just reaping the benefits of all the activities that we had done prior to that.
I think it's great. And as you start incorporating and doing events, how did your mind shift with events and COVID? And have you had to change everything?
Well, we didn't do our Oktoberfest this year for obvious reasons. We did do as you can see, our invite up there, the pumpkin pie drive-by giveaway. We modified that event. That was great. I think we got 5 listing leads just off of, talking to people out of their cars, which was amazing. Our main fundraiser that we do, and one reason why we have been successful, is we found a niche. They say keep your focus small and your business will be big. And our niche is pretty much the lake area. We do some stuff out in the surrounding counties, but we mainly, try to tell our people, stay in your market, know your product, know, what you're selling. Because of the way this market's gone, and I guess there's so many agents out there, we have a lot of out of area agents coming into our market. That's been a real struggle for us because it puts more workload on us and they don't know what they're doing, obviously. And so we just want to make sure, our people are trained, they know the area. And one way we've been able to do that is through our community fundraiser. About 6 years ago, we started a fundraiser out here, and it's a 501(c), which we established that just to benefit the area, to use it for whatever was needed. It started out that our boat was broke down on our lake, so nobody was out there to rescue people. So we raised enough money to get a new motor for the boat and a lift for it. And then the next year we segued and we just started giving money to the volunteer fire departments. We were able to lower insurance rates out here at the lake, which the community loves. And we have a really generous community that have really come together. We started doing a poker run about 5 years ago. This year we couldn't do it, obviously, because of COVID. So it took the board, because we had to create a board for the 501(c), about 3 months once COVID hit to figure out how we were going to segue into a virtual event. So we actually had a Fuel the Firefighters month for the entire month of September, which worked out really good. We had an event every week that was virtual. We had a Meet the Firefighter cocktail party to kick it off. We had a silent auction, which went really well. We had a t-shirt online store. That was great. We had our page that we created for the Benefit RC this year. This year was the first year we had our Facebook page. It's up on the screen. And so because of touching the community and trying to help the community, and bring the community together for events, that has really helped us in our business. We also do a Christmas boat parade at the end of the year, which is coming up next week. So the picture on the right-hand side is us getting ready for the boat parade. And we just, we have a Facebook page where we, try to organize it and have, to where people can come out and celebrate Christmas. And we have a food pantry donation for that event. So we're giving back to the community there. So basically it all goes back to the community, and what can we do for you? Not what can we get out of you, but what can we do for you? So
You know what, Julie, as you talk through this, there's a thread that kind of ties you and Paul together, and that is your really genuine focus on making a difference in your communities. A lot of people focus on buying leads and, finding other ways to increase their lead count by buying them online. You just give. And I love that you've turned the fire rescue and the volunteer fire department. All right, so I'm kind of looking at your boat here. I'm looking really close at the slide. I can't tell if that's a party barge or a fishing boat.
Pontoon.
Oh, it's a pontoon boat. That's a good rescue boat.
Yeah, no, that's actually our boat, or one of the boats that was being decorated. I can't tell if that was ours or not, but
Yeah.
that's not the rescue boat. The rescue boat is a little speedier than that, so it can get around.
It's a legit rescue boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was going to say, well, in Texas, you have all kinds of needs for rescue with all the hurricanes and crazy things that happen with your weather. So I think that's such a cool thing. So how has your team responded? I love this team shot here.
How do they respond?
Yeah, how have they responded to all of the increased business, and how have you maintained a level of sanity?
Well, we're just holding on by the seat of our pants is probably the best answer to that, because they have I couldn't have a better team. Our transaction coordinator, she's been at home with COVID because she's got some extenuating circumstances, and she's just been working from home doing 400 transactions, which is unheard of. So, we've had our struggles, obviously, because, this has been a hard year for everybody, and doing twice as much business is also kind of been, you have to try to keep up and figure out, where do you need people and what can they be doing? But everybody's responded really well. They've stepped up to the plate and they've done a great job.
So Julie, this is just a curiosity question. It's not one that I asked you previously, but how has your brokerage responded to how your team is performing? Has that brought your other agents up? Are you seeing some?
Well, I think everybody's done well this year. I am the broker for the brokerage, and most of our agents are on our team, kind of like Paul. We do have some before we started our team that are with us, but most of our people in our brokerage are on our team.
I love that. All right, so talk to me more. Tell me more about the chamber and some of the other things you're doing. Oh, this is your CMA.
No, this is actually something I ripped off and duplicated from my coach. And look how awesome this is. This is an 8.5 by 11 postcard with the market update. I can probably contribute, and I don't know specifically because I didn't say, well, did you get the market postcard or did you get a different postcard? But I would say a lot of our listings have come from this postcard, especially during the listing challenge, because it hit pretty quickly before that. So this has been an amazing piece for us because, you get a great looking 8.5 by 11 postcard in your mailbox. I mean, who else are you going to call? I mean, everybody sends postcards, right? So I think this has really been a standout piece for us. So I wanted to share it and give Mike the kudos because we did rip off and duplicate it. I mean, we changed it a little bit, but.
One of the things I've learned about our coaches, and Paul, you being in the inner circle, you see this, is that we'll have a 120-day listing challenge. Inside there was a how to message to the market postcard that was created by master coach Cleve Gaddis on the Atlanta market. And then I can see that what you and Mike have done is taken that and expanded it and continued to improve. I call it the wisdom of the crowd, and our crowd always makes things better. And that's the power of being with an organization where everybody is sharing and giving. It's really cool to see that, Julie.
Yes. I'm very thankful for that. And we do geographic farming. We've been doing that for, probably 12 years, ever since we opened our office at the lake. So we've been doing consistent direct marketing and, direct mail marketing, geographic farming, however you want to call it. We do it to the whole lake. We have about 4,000 names in our database. We increased that this year by 2,000 names. Just to make sure we were covering everybody that owned property anywhere surrounding the lake. And I would say probably 26% of our business is off of direct mail because we have so many out of area people. So, it's one thing to do the community thing, but then it's another to try to market to people that aren't living in the community. When you have an undeveloped area where you don't have a lot of rooftops, which we don't, we're beginning to get a lot because building is going nuts out here right now. But without a lot of rooftops, you're also marketing to people that aren't in the community. So that's why this has been really successful for us.
So I don't know about you, Paul, but when you look at these pictures, do you want to go visit this lake? I want to hang out there.
Yeah, you should watch our video. Is that on the next slide? We have a welcome to the lake video. We
No, but
did
it's coming.
that. I guess is all the slides? They were up there. It was up there, but anyway, we have a welcome.
Is this the one you're looking at?
No, that's there. There we go. The top left-hand corner. So we hired a video crew to come out to the lake and do a professional video of just the area. Okay, so this wasn't specific to us or Remax or another way to serve the community, right? We wanted something out there, and we have it on our website. Obviously, we market with it, but it doesn't say call John and Julie Teal or the Teal team. It's mainly just an introduction to the area. And we had some clients come to our house, and the crew videoed them talking about the lake. So we had two sections. We had where they were talking about the lake and how great it was and what they loved about it. And then we had another video done about us and what we do for people. So we had like a marketing video done while the crew was there. And then we had a lake area video done just with people in the community talking about it. And that has been huge for us. And we got this crew out of Tyler. It's actually an educational video crew. They were actually teaching. It was a teaching. So that was really cool. It was a Christian teaching video school that came and did it. I think it was about $7,000 or $8,000 for both videos. So that's been really good. I see this is talking about virtual, what we've done virtually. We did do a slide deck, a marketing slide deck this year as a result of COVID. We do a lot of marketing to people and, talking about getting listings to people that we've never met. We pretty much do a lot of our business with people we've never met. We do our direct mailing. They call us up. They say, hey, what can you do for us? We send them a CMA. We send them the slide deck for the marketing. We talk to them about, the market, what's going on in the market. And so we do a lot of business without talking to people. Then, of course, we have DocuSign where we do everything electronically. And these days you can pretty much close remotely. So a lot of what we've done has been remote this year due to our market. So we've been having to gear to that. We've also, go ahead.
Julie, can I ask you a question? So just out of curiosity, so it sounds to me like you've always done virtual because you're dealing with out of market buyers and sellers, but by upping your game because of COVID, do you think you're going to be doing a lot of the things you did during COVID on an ongoing basis? Is it going to be better now across the board as a result of this?
Oh, absolutely. I think everything you do, it's part of growing and being successful is always trying to figure out the new best thing to do things, right? And that's why, coaching is, has been really good for us. We've tried 6 different coaching companies, and I was very reluctant to go to Workman Success, not because I didn't think they were great, but because it's a little bit more expensive, right?
Right.
But I will say that it's been worth it because the people that y'all have in place are actually doing the job themselves, which is not, I've had great coaches. I can't even tell you. I mean, I have had great coaches, but they're not like actually doing the job. And when you get to a point where you've grown like we had, you really need somebody other than just the coaches teaching you one way to do things, if that makes sense. So having people on the ground, coaching you, sharing with you, that's made a big difference, I think, for us this year.
It's interesting, Julie. And so we do have amazing coaches, and when you have to pay for them. Like I can't get people like Paul Wheeler and Mike Koch and, who are making 7 figures and have them be coaches if you don't create an opportunity for them to make it worth it. And so it costs a little bit more, but really I've never had a client that implements what they're taught that comes back and says it's an expense. It's always
Right.
a profit center. You know,
Right, exactly. That's, I
right?
guess, yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. I tried a couple other coaches for maybe not half the price, maybe a little bit more than half the price for, 2 or 3 years, and I've looked into, your coaching for a while. So I just want to say, thank you to you. Thank you to Mike.
Well, thank you, Julie. And I appreciate your energy. And I have to tell you, I'd like to take all the credit, but the reason you're having the success is because you're doing the work. You're implementing it. You're actually getting up every day and doing the things that your coach asks you to do. And I'll tell people that the difference is not the coach, but it's really the person and whether or not you're going to execute. So the high five goes back to you for execution and to your team. I just love that. I love how much you love your team and all the virtual stuff that you're doing. I want to make sure I get to a few questions. Tell me some of the other things you do from a community perspective. This looks like this is a great slide, by the way.
Yeah. So my husband's actually in a rock band. I don't know how duplicable this is, but he's in a rock band here. It's classic rock. It's very great music, Beatles. And before COVID, he hasn't been able to do it as much since COVID, but they they have a regular gig at the restaurant here on the lake. And so his job is to entertain and my job is to work the crowd. And so that's a community, a client event for us every month, just, shaking hands, talking to everybody. I mean, I don't even really have time to sit down and eat and enjoy the music because that's what I do. So, and then this year we started branding, the bottom of the slide, we started branding like our birthday cards that we send out. We have the local chef bistro in Corsicana that makes the best food in town. He's given away desserts to all of our clients. So we do a birthday postcard and send that out. And then they're all branded the same. So when people open it, they know that that's from us, the Teel team. We also do this Richland Chambers Lake community page. I started that up as an idea of, one of my other coaches a few years back, be the first one. It may be too late for this now, but be the first one to do a community page, whatever area you're focusing in. Don't make it about, real estate sales. It's a service to the community. And so, every now and then we get posts like this where people are asking for realtors and, we show up 75% of the time on who they're recommending. This actual one had 97 comments. And I think we were recommended either me or our team or somebody on our team, probably 80% of those comments. So that's been a really good community focused thing
Brilliant.
as well.
That's so fun. It's brilliant. So love the idea. I love the idea of having that. So my action item with you is to date or marry a rock star and then start performing and work the crowd. I love that. Yeah. Paul, I don't know if you can tell your physician wife that you're going to look for a rock star next, but I know there's a way you can play on that.
If she gets out of medicine, she's going into comedy, stand up.
My wife would have, after being married to me for this many years, my wife would have to go into comedy because she has to have a good sense of humor. Julie and Paul, you guys are just awesome. I thank you so much for sharing. Let me just share with you a couple of things here. I'm going to give you a download page. Julie, somebody was asking if they could have a copy of your postcard that you send out. We'll make this whole webinar available to everybody who's attending. And so on the slide deck, you can see her postcard, the front and back, if it's on there, I would just get it that way. Julie, if somebody wanted to send you a referral or get a lake house, how do they contact you?
How do they contact me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, if somebody wants to send you a referral, there's all these agents on here that have people that want lake houses. I want them to send you a referral. How do they get a hold of you?
They call me.
So go in the chat box and put your email address or how you want to be contacted, and let's make sure people know how to get a hold of you. I know that Paul did that. We're going to give everybody a copy of 120-day listing ebook, or the how to double your listings in 120 days, how to become a master of virtual real estate. Paul's graciously shared with us his buyer and seller interview sheets that he uses in the interview process. And more importantly, what I would like you to do is I'd really like you to sign up for a free coaching consultation. If you're not yet a coaching client and you want to have the kind of business that you see Paul and Julie run, and you want to have a great culture where you make a difference in your community, then maybe reach out. Maybe 2021 is the year that you hire a coach that can really help you. And we'd love to be considered for that position. We'd love to help you. So if we can help you, please reach out. Okay, let me just jump in and see if I have any quick questions. Let me see what time it is. I also want to tell you in 4 minutes, if you'll go to Workman Success Facebook Live, we're doing a Facebook Live where I'm interviewing a guy by the name of Joel Block. Paul, this is a webinar you want to be on. Joel Block is the master at creating hedge funds for doing real estate investing. And he's in a $1 million speakers group that is just phenomenal. And he has a tremendous way of teaching how to invest and how to do it in a big way with hedge funds. And so it might be interesting beyond that. So I encourage you and welcome you all to come to our Facebook Live at the top of the hour. Okay, Paul, you said a high overview of the market. How do you discuss absorption rates at the neighborhood level?
So absorption at the neighborhood level, it's generally price. What I do with absorption rates is break them down into price segments. So 27 years ago, people would ask me, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? And I would say one or the other. Now I know better. So it depends on the price point. So if we're looking at absorption rate, and absorption rate is the number of months of inventory on the market in a particular price point at the rate the buyers are buying. So if they're in the $200,000 to $300,000 price point, and we know we have 5 months of inventory in that price point, we know it's balanced. 3 to 5 months is balanced. If they're below on my graph, we know it's a seller's market. If they, like our high end, have 24 months of inventory on the market, we know we're seeing downward pressure in pricing, and there's way too much inventory at the rate the buyers are buying. So it's really clear to them that we're in a great segment of the market, or holy cow, we've got some work to do.
That sounds like a great topic for a webinar, doesn't it, Julius? To just talk about how we price and how we discuss buyers and sellers market in a high inventory, low inventory, or balanced market. Guys, I have to run. I have to go from one studio to the next in the next 90 seconds. I want to thank you both for sharing so much and being so willing to give, and just wish you just tremendous success as we go into 2021. Have a great holiday season with your families. Enjoy it all. Stay safe, and let's keep praying for this vaccine to get distributed so we can get back to normal as soon as possible. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Paul.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Paul.
Thanks, Pearl. See you, Julie. You betcha. Bye.